edition of my knitting journal. My name is Joji and this is my blog for all my knitting. And today is Friday, September 2nd, 2021, and I am happy and surprised that I have the time to record this. I am about to leave to the US, hopefully, if everything goes well. I will be leaving the country in just a couple of hours. And I normally pack the day we leave the country because I used to have so much experience packing that I could do it in a couple of hours for me and my entire family. But for this trip, I've been a little bit more stressed than usual, a little bit more nervous, and so I started packing yesterday and I finished. So I looked at the clock and I realized that I had 3 hours before it's time to go to the airport, and I thought, what a perfect time to come here, upload this video before leaving or sometime when I'm away. So yeah, it's been a great week, lots of emotions. I hope that the week ends the same way. I just published a small collection of patterns on Wednesday, September 1st. Those were patterns that if you are a regular viewer, then you had seen them all. I had shown the progress for all of those here in the journal, in the podcast, but perhaps it's the first time you join me, so you probably saw those for the first time on Ravelry. Those patterns were not born as a collection. They were not designed to be together, but somehow they were waiting for me. I shared my feelings about photography and my fear of getting my work out there lately, maybe for the past 2.5 years. I think since the beginning of 2019 or March 2019, I've been feeling really insecure about the things that I design. I have analyzed it. I've done therapy about it. It has to do with many things, and some of those things are out of our control. Sometimes we just can't handle the fear, and I realized that I kept pushing designs that were finished and designs that I really liked and felt proud of, just because there was a step or two missing in the publishing process. So where do I start? About a month ago, I started getting some more help at Joji & Co. We hired someone who could do some of the photography for the product, especially for the website catalogs. And so that cleared up a lot of my free time. And the second time this photographer came, I told Charlie, well, I would normally be taking photos of our bags right now, so maybe it's a good time to invest that time and put the same effort in photographing some of my knitwear designs. So I put on some makeup. I remember looking at the mirror and saying, it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. You just go there and photograph those patterns. The weather was great for me when I do photography. It all has to do with the light. I live in a rather dark house. Even here in my studio, I have to move my couch to face the window so that I get more light and you can see me. And so the weather was good. I thought it's perfect weather, and I asked Charlie to help me do the photography for all of the patterns that I had here. And when I just gathered the pile, I thought these patterns need to be together. They are meant to be together. They are one of each. And so that's what I did. I bundled them up and I launched them as my Ready for Fall collection, because I truly think that this little bundle has anything that you might want to need: a shawl, a cowl, socks, a beanie, and a pullover. So if you want to put together a little wardrobe capsule for the fall, then this ebook is a great way to start. You know, there are patterns for all of these pieces. There are so many, but sometimes when we look at things together like that, it inspires us to maybe plan our projects a little bit better, so that maybe they match or they have some colors in common, because you might be wearing them together. So that is what I planned with this little ebook. So I thought I would come here and share again all of these. Some of them you haven't seen for many months, but they are finally out. Again, the collection is called Ready for Fall, and here are the 5 patterns. First, I'm going to talk about the socks. These are the caramel sauce socks. Of course, they look a lot better in the pattern photograph. This is my computer camera, and it's not as flattering as a nice fancy camera, but they are made using La Bien-Aimée yarn from Paris. This is sport weight yarn, and the colorway is called caramel. And I'm not going to go too in depth so that I don't bore you, but what I like about these socks is the stitch pattern that I used. So I use a lot of lace in my socks, and I love them. You don't have to always make them elastic. I've made socks that have lace pattern on the cuff, or even throughout the entire leg, or at a portion of the leg, but I find that lace tends to be more inelastic, sort of like stockinette stitch, and I like better, for myself, the way a ribbed sock fits. So for this, I experimented with knit and purl. It's not a rocket science, but I like that it looks lacy. It doesn't look very different to all of the lace patterns that we normally use, but it is ribbed, and it is a lot more elastic than regular lace, so it adjusts better to your legs and feet. And the socks, it helps the socks stay up a little bit and not flare out. Sometimes they flare out a little around my ankles. They are knitted from the cuff down. They have a heel flap, a ribbed one, to continue the ribbing that we were working on for the leg. I made a ribbed heel flap and then a flat normal toe. These are the caramel sauce socks. Then I designed, this is one of my favorite things. I designed a shawl, simple but beautiful. I call this shawl, there it is, Some Me Time. I am wearing airport clothes. As you can see, everything's very comfortable. I am ready to go. Let me style it a little bit better. This shawl, I started this in January. I was staying at the summer house, and I was having a very self-involved time. I was trying to get my hand deep and rescue me from the waters of 2020. I was trying to do things that did me good, that made me feel good. And the thing that makes me feel good is actually knitting. I really like knitting. And sometimes I don't knit on the projects I have because I have to write them. So I have reached a stage where I need to stop and write what I'm doing, or because I don't remember what I was or what I was doing. So I have to go check the row number I was on, or whether I needed to do shaping. Sometimes I stop knitting because I just don't like the yarn or what I'm making or the color combination or the way things are turning out, and I get really frustrated and I just quit the project or just toss it until I detox in my mind from those projects. And I had just received a box from Magpie Fibers at the time, back in January. They were very generous and they sent me this big box with a lot of yarns to try. And I never expected it to come because normally mail won't come. They sent it by mistake, actually. They didn't know that I couldn't receive yarn, so they just sent it. And for some reason, it skipped customs. What normally would happen is that a box gets stuck in customs and there's no way for me to get things out, or it's very difficult or expensive, super expensive sometimes. In this case, for some reason, the box really went through customs just like that. And one day the postman shows up in my door and says, here's the box for you. That made me happy. And I knew that, especially at the time when I couldn't get any yarn because I wasn't traveling. So I knew that yarn, whatever it was, the yarn meant happiness to me. So I really wanted to make something out of some of that yarn. And I didn't have enough for sweaters because there were 2 skeins of each. So I just cast on a triangular shawl. The yarn is very timeless. It's very classic. It's kind of old school yarn, the kind of yarn that my grandma used to use for her projects. So I thought of designing a shawl that is old school, but you know that it doesn't have a modern twist. It's just the way we wear these shawls that make them modern, right? So I just cast on a triangle in garter stitch, and then after a while I decided to add some lace pattern, but it's so simple and so repetitive that the way I designed this, I can go on and I always know where I am. So there are enough repeats so that once you finish one, you have the correct stitch count to start another repeat of the lace pattern. So I really like that about this design. I really like that my friend Ale, she wanted to test, but she wanted to use her yarns because she has her own yarn company and she didn't have the same weight. So I said, you know what, it doesn't matter, you can test with whatever weight. So instead she used decay. She made fewer repeats of the lace and she used one more skein, and I was able to photograph that sample for the ebook, and I was able to include her yarn in the pattern description. I don't have her sample here because she came to visit yesterday and she took it back, but you can look at it on Ravelry. The moss green version of the pattern is a different weight, a different amount of repeats, a different needle. I mean, you could use fingering weight. 2 skeins would give you a beautiful, huge shawl. Maybe if I'm using fingering weight, I would add another pattern repeat to the end. You can do the lacy bits in one color and all the garter in a different color, so you can make a two-tone version of this same design. I just thought this is something that I would need when I want to take a break from everything that stresses me out from knitting as a job, and I want to knit for myself. So I called it some me time. When I take some me time, I work on things that make me really happy and help me relax and help me get grounded and find some peace. I think a lot about self-care, especially this year. I've been thinking a lot about that. I've been thinking about gifting myself with time to do all the things that for years I thought I wasn't worthy of. So take time to move, take time to walk, take time to knit, take time to make my food, take time to visit friends, take time to go out and have a beautiful cup of coffee and a chat with my dearest friends, take time to sit down with my kids and listen to all their super long stories without needing to always make more. This is something that a lot of us struggle, especially women. We get wrapped up in this wave of empower women, and we can take over the world, and we can do, and we are powerful, and look at us go, and girl boss vibe. And that wasn't really working for me, because if I tell myself that I can do more and that I should do more, then I'll try to do more, and I'll probably end up succeeding at doing more, because I have a lot of energy. But that doesn't mean that making or doing more is actually what I need. So a lot of these patterns have to do or were born during this time of accepting this new, or I don't know how to call it, this point of view for this year for me that really influenced my work and the way that I share, the way that I behave on social media, and the way that I've been living for the past 9 months or so of this year. Anyway, some me time. It's a shawl that hopefully you will pick up and you'll know where you are, and it's soothing and relaxing, and when you finish it, it's beautiful to wear. It warms you and it complements your autumn wardrobe. I use, as I said, magpie fibers. This yarn is called Nest Sport. It's a Corridel yarn, and the color is a deep, rich shade of brown. Very warm, almost caramel, but if you compare it with the caramel socks, these are lighter. And it's called Twilight Beaver. Third pattern is a sweet cowl. I'm taking this one on my trip. This cowl, I just wanted to use the yarn. I just really wanted to use this yarn. I got this as a gift from a shop owner, Jan. She is the owner of the Forever Yarn shop in Doylestown, Philadelphia, or Philadelphia area. And she was vending at Vogue, and I came say hi, and a couple of my dyer friends were hanging out with Jan because she's so kind, and she said, please take some of this mohair that I have custom dyed, I think, for my shop. So the yarn is called Kid Zeta. It's a mohair silk by Gebhard Yarn. Those, you can see the 4 colors that I use, kind of a lilac gray, pink, bone or off-white, and then variegated or tonal, like an oatmeal with some pink. And they are all in the same color family, and all the colors that Jan had picked had this vibe, and she helped me put the colors together. I think she actually picked all the colors, and she asked the dyer of this, the owner of the yarn company, Gepard Yarn. She asked her to hand dye some mohair for her shop. So you wouldn't normally find this hand dyed version of the Kid Zeta, but I was fortunate to receive 4 skeins of it. I used about half a skein of each color. I quote the yardage that I used in the pattern, and I used every color, I used it double stranded. So it gave me this thick or fluffy, very, very fluffy fabric. And if you want to substitute, the gauge that I achieved is more or less that of a decay weight. So let's say you want to make it with just 1 strand of Suri alpaca or other yarns that are more of a decay weight, then you can replace both strands of mohair with just 1 strand. And I also give the required yardages for that in the pattern. This cowl is an infinity cowl, so you start with a provisional gaston and then you join both ends together. It's worked lengthwise, so back and forth, and it has a reversible cable on one end. So as you can see, when you fold the cowl, if the border is peaking, you get a cable on both sides. I love reversible cables. I love cables in general. And then I used a lacy pattern with a cute bubble, like a leaf with a little bubble in the center. And this one is not reversible, but I think that the wrong side looks really cute too. So I call it reversible. Let's say it's reversible. And I love the way it looks, both with just wearing it without wrapping it twice, with just 1 wrap around your neck, and then twice. It gets really cozy and very elegant. I love the colors, and I plan to bring this on my trip so that I'm very warm if it gets chilly in the trails. Oh, I realized I didn't tell you where we're going. We're going to the Pacific Northwest in the US. We will fly in and out of Seattle, but then we'll do a 2-week road trip visiting national parks. Our goal is to hike as much as we can. I think I have planned hikes for every single day. I have some more here. And there are no yarn shops in the plans because I find it hard to fit a visit to the yarn store during the times that they are open with the times that we really want to hike. So I don't plan visits to yarn stores, but if I can, if somehow we can make it happen, I'll definitely visit some of the yarn stores in the area. I know that there are a ton. There are stores opening there all the time. I have a few actually friends who own yarn stores there, so we'll see. But I don't promise a report of the yarn stores of the Pacific Northwest. I can promise a report of the trails. We are bringing our raincoats. We have lots. I posted about our trip on Instagram yesterday, and we have received so much advice and so many recommendations that I think that we're on. I made good plans. I had already made an in-depth itinerary, but based on the things that people were recommending, I think that I had picked well. So I'm happy about that. The other item that I'm bringing with me to the Pacific Northwest is a beanie, even though it's only the beginning of fall. It might get chilly there. This is the Change Your Mind beanie, also part of the collection. And I called it Change Your Mind. I'm gonna show you that it has a double brim, double fold brim. So it's a triple brim because this is designed for fingering weight yarn, and I get cold when I wear a beanie. I wanna have my ears and my forehead warm, so that way with 3 layers you're really warm, and then the top is it's not as thick, it's lacy and just 1 layer. So when I cast this on again, I was trying to create patterns that were happy and easy. Not patterns, probably projects. I was casting on projects for myself. So what do I want to knit? What do I need to knit? What do I feel like knitting? And this was in February, March. The kids were just starting their school, and I was doing a lot of the school driving. And sometimes they got either in or they came out at different times, so we spent some time on the car waiting for them to come out, or I arrived early to pick them up. My kids are not taking the bus to and from school to reduce the chances of catching COVID, since they have been going to school since the beginning of the year, since February. So Charlie and I are doing the effort of driving them to and back from school. And so I was spending a lot of time on the car, and I thought, okay, I need a hat that I can just knit, a ribbed one, one by one. I'm going to wear that thing a lot. I wear my ribbed hats a lot. And also, if I want to knit and walk, because I'm walking more, then now I have this project that I can work on and knit and walk. Anyway, I started with the orange color. This is Ushitita's yarn, Merino Singles, and the color is called Madras. And then, let's say, by the time I got here, I was already super bored with it. Super bored. Then I kept going, and I think that when I reached this point, I said, I can't do this anymore. This is too boring. I knit very slowly, especially ribbing. And I think I had been knitting for like 2 weeks, and I was here. Oh, this is not working out. We're breaking up, this project and I, the way it is. No. So I decided to add another lacy ribbing to the top of the hat, and I changed color. I picked a skein of yarn, also by Ushitita. The color is Owl, and it had some speckles that matched the orange perfectly. So I decided to make it a two-tone hat, and for the pompon I used both colors of yarn. So this, if you have leftovers from one skein, I think that you need a little bit more than half a skein of each color, but you don't need full skeins. So sometimes, how sometimes we use a little bit of color for some stripes. And yeah, Charlie's here. Okay, the last pattern in the booklet is the newspaper pullover, and this one, I think it's everyone's favorite, and mine too. This is one of my favorite sweaters that I ever made. I'm so proud of it. It's a brioche pullover. I used a contrasting combination of yarn, so very dark gray and white. And not only I ventured into brioche, which is not scary at all. Just if you know me, this is my second time knitting brioche and designing brioche. So, I don't know why I was so scared of it. Um, I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend taking courses or doing tutorials or just pick up a pattern and follow the instructions. And that's what I did. I picked up a pattern, I followed the instructions, and I learned with the pattern. And then I realized, yeah, I can use this shaping, I can use these stitches to design my own patterns. And anyway, this is a raglan pullover, and as you can see, the main color is the most prominent vertical line. So I'm using white as the main color on the body and black as the main color for the sleeves on this section, and then I alternate. It's white for the main color here and black for the main color here. And that goes on all through the sweater, so it's vertical and horizontal stripes combined. I'm in love with this thing. I had a blast designing it. This was not an easy design for me to write, but it was absolutely enjoyable. I love the finished sweater so much that I'm taking it with me. I don't normally bring my sweaters with me on trips because hand knit sweaters weigh a lot, and I am very careful with the weight of my luggage. But this one is very light. This one is only about 300 grams. So I'm bringing it because I think I'll wear it a lot also. The yarns that I used are by two big friends. The dark one is by Norne Tuva in Norway, and the white one is by my friends at Manos del Uruguay. And this is Fino by Manos del Uruguay in color Ivory Letter Opener, and this is Singles by Norne, and the color is Flightful or something that I'm forgetting and mispronouncing for sure. This sweater is my dream pullover. I called it newspaper sweater because it reminds me of the pages of a newspaper, and I love them. I love black and white. I love graphic things. I like graphic art. I've always been really drawn to monochrome designs that have a lot to say, and they are not just about color. And I think that this one truly represents that. It looks like a simple sweater. When I show it, when I hold it up, it's like, yeah, it's a simple sweater, but you and I know it's not. And when I photographed it, I was able to capture really the way I feel about the sweater, the way I love to wear it, how beautiful it fits, because it's not oversized, but it's not tight fitting either. The yarns that I picked both have silk, which give the sweater this drapey and sophisticated look. For those of you who really want a more crisp definition of your brioche and your colors, maybe I suggest substituting the fingering weight with a plied yarn instead of a single ply silky yarn. So that will give you much more elastic fabric, and the stripes will be more noticeable too. But I'm more than excited with my yarn choices. They feel very luxurious and soft and beautiful, and they were created by beautiful people, these yarns. The cuffs are finished with just one color 1 or 2, I don't know, the dark one, and I finished them with a tubular bind off. Same for the neckband. The neckband is picked up after. Sometimes when we do brioche, when I do brioche at least, I get these uneven cast on or bind off, or when I'm making new stitches here. But then because I picked up the stitches for the neckband after, I was able to hide all of that under the neckband. So for the back, it's really even and neat and tidy. But for the front, you can see that there were some stitches added when I was shaping the neckline. and this didn't look as neat as for the back. So because I was picking the stitches afterwards for the neckband, I could, finish that very, very neatly. And I realized, because someone asked, that I never show the bottom of the sweater on the photos because I tucked into my trousers. So the bottom of the sweater is just a black or a dark band of ribbing with a tubular bind off too. So the newspaper pullover, all of these are available as individual patterns on Ravelry and on my website jojiknits.com. And they are also available as a bundle, as an ebook. And all of my patterns are 20% off because we are getting ready for the Joji Fall Knit Along for 2021. This is an event that we host every year, and this year is our 10th knit along. 10 years doing knit alongs on Ravelry together, and so we are super excited, getting ready. The sign-ups are open until September 18, and until then you can get any of my self-published patterns, including ebooks, 20% off if you use the code Joji Fall Cowl 2021, all lower caps, but I think that they are not case sensitive. So remember that. I'm going to put it in the show notes. And what else? I hope you like them. I'm really excited about this collection. I want to say something deeper because it means really a lot to me. These things that this collection that I just put out, but I have written so much about all of that already that if you have read everything that I wrote, you're probably bored of listening to me talk about this collection. So I hope that you'll give my patterns a try if you never tried one. I write with a lot of love, a lot of feeling. I always say, it is my dream job. I have my dream job, and I have other jobs, and I do other kinds of work, and this is what I love to do, and I refuse to let go of this job, and I really want every pattern that I write to make whoever's making it feel confident and happy. So before I sign off, I need to tell you about the things that I'm working on. Some of my works in progress are not here, but I finished a shawl design, and it's also inspired by graphic lines and geometric art. I drew something, and I wanted to see if I could achieve that shape. It didn't come out as I drew it, but it came out stunning, and I'm very happy, and we're testing it. So I'm going to give you a very brief sneak peek of something that I call the Frank shawl. It's huge. It is a wrap, and I used 4 colors of Madeline Tosh because I used one color from another dyer, but that company closed, and so I'm going to stop tagging them because people are going to try to get that yarn, and it's not available. And Madeline Tosh has a very, very similar color to the one that I use, almost identical. So I used off-white is the antler, the gold is glazed pecan, the medium gray is great gray owl, and then the dark gray is scratch record. All of these are Tosh Merino Light, and I'm so excited that I finished another shawl. I am working on the color work coat with the color combinations from Tanis Fiber Arts, Lola Bean Yarn Company, and the Uncommon Thread. I am working on the front bands, as you can see, and I cannot show it to you. I am not going to bring this project with me on my trip, so it won't be ready for a while, but it's there. I decided to do short sleeves because I just liked the way that it looked when I tried it on, and I am going to show you the things that I am bringing with me on my trip. First of all, if you have never heard of our bags, we have a project bag company, a leather project bag company called Joji and Co. Every bag is handmade here in Buenos Aires by super gorgeous and talented makers, artisans from our area. And we have the honor of selling their products to all of you. So I own a few of our products. I try not to keep too many of them. Like the coat right now is inside our forage bag, camo forage bag. I like the forage bag a lot. I love the size. This is like a 6K sweater now. But I am not taking that one with me because, as I said, I'm going to be hiking a lot and I don't want to carry bigger bags that might not get used. So I have a technical backpack that I have to bring with clasps and like a backpacking backpack. then and then the other bag that I'm bringing is this one. This one is from Joji and Co. This is our pin-up tote, and it has little perforations. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't put any pins on mine, but it has little perforations so you can add your favorite enamel pins. This is made with genuine suede, so this is leather, and the handles are made using vaqueta. This is natural leather. Mine has been used for a couple of months already, so my handles have now turned brown. Vaqueta turns brown. When you first get your bags, it's natural, and then it starts tanning. So this is carrying the things that I may need at the airport, or if I meet a friend for breakfast and I want to carry my knitting and my water bottle and a few other things. I might not want to bring my technical backpack, so I'm bringing this one instead, and I think it works out great. Then inside, I am bringing a fabric bag. This is a design that we had last year for Joji Fall Knit Along. We didn't make any project bags for the Knit Along this year, unfortunately. So this is carrying my current project, and it's a new sweater design that I'm working on now. And I must tell you that I kept going with Continental, and I think that I made great progress. So right now, I can honestly say that I think I am faster than with English, and I am enjoying it. I feel comfortable. The only thing that I can't do is knit without looking, really. I can't. See, I'm looking at you and I'm knitting, but I don't feel as confident yet. And when I have tried to do it for a longer time, like not looking, I ended up ripping because I had dropped stitches, or maybe I knitted into the stitch below. So it's not a good idea yet, but I think I'm faster. I wanted to get faster at knitting so that I could see my ideas come to life a little bit quicker, and then I can enjoy what I'm making more without feeling frustrated, because after all, knitting is my dream job, but it's a job. So this is important for me. This is something that I wanted to do, and I learned by watching my friend Tina from the yarn shop Tititu in Finland, she sent me a WhatsApp video. So it's not on YouTube, it's in my WhatsApp, and she sent me a WhatsApp video of how she knits, and I just looked at how she knitted and decided, okay, I love the way she knits. I know I've always admired the things that she makes, so it might be a good idea to just pick someone that knits in a fabulous way and try to mimic what they're doing, right? So that is what I did, and so far it's working out. I cast on last night, and this is huge progress for me, especially during a day when I've been packing. So I am terribly excited. I feel like I now really want to go to my knitting. My knitting is enjoyable again, and I feel really, really renewed. So maybe that's just what I needed. Try something, a few new things. Try brioche. I've tried quite a few new things lately. So the yarn that I'm using, I love it. I got this a few years ago in Canada, and it's Cashmerino 20 by Sweet Fiber, and the colorway is charcoal because it's my favorite color to wear, and I want to knit things that make me really happy. So I got several skeins of this. I mentioned that I wanted to create a couple of sweaters that I can wear with baggy jeans tucked inside my jeans, or baggy jeans or trousers. So my idea for this one is a circular yoke sweater with a few eyelets and not too boxy and not too shapely. So kind of fitting like the newspaper pullover, because I really would like to wear them that way, tucked inside my trousers. Then, so that is coming in my project bag. I get asked a lot whether I can knit on the plane, and yes, you can knit on the plane. There only once, many years ago, someone on a Chilean flight asked me to put my knitting away, but then I knit on every other flight. What I do is I screw out the tips of my needles. I screw them out and I put them on inside my coin purse or my pencil case, and then I put them back on the plane, because sometimes I feel like there's this prejudice towards knitting needles, so you can come on the plane with a pencil, but you can't come on the plane with a knitting needle. So what I do is I try for them not to really see that they're attached to fabric, and then I put them back on when I'm on the plane, just for security. I've never been told otherwise. Then I'm bringing my notions pouch, a very flashy metallic notions pouch with my essential notions, but no scissors, because this one's coming on the plane. I am bringing my journal. This is my notebook. Our notebook covers from Hoki & Co. 2. I am not trying to advertise our company. I just really like the things that we make. I feel like I make the things that I wanted to have for myself. So the journal covers are leather. They are designed for an A5 journal. I use a bullet journal. By the way, we have some of these in the shop. And then it has a removable pencil case. You could even put your needles there. And so when you want to write on this side of the page, the pencil case is not bothering, or the pencils are not bothering you. So you can take it off and then put it back on. So I'm carrying this. It has all my knitting notes, and it has pockets, so I can put photographs of things, of ideas, or charts that I draw or sketches that I drew in other paper, but if I want to keep it all together, I use this thing a lot in my favorite color, not black. My only favorite color that is not black. Um, and then I'm also carrying with me two skeins of Mayak. Mayak is a US Italian company that makes yak fibers and other beautiful yarns, and they are good friends. They've always been so kind to me, especially Paola. She's a really good friend. And recently, their Instagram account was hacked. I think that someone found their password and changed it, and then they got us for ransom money to recover their account. It sounds lighter than it actually is. It's their entire business, their entire customer base is on that Instagram account. So it's tragic. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have my social media account. And they've been trying to get people to follow them on a new account called Mayak lower underscore fibers. Mayak underscore fibers. So I thought in order to give them a little bit exposure these days, I can make some socks using their yak. They are not hard wearing, they will not be hard wearing socks, but they will be luxurious and cozy, and actually the yak fiber holds up really well, so I'm interested to see how nice these are. This is worsted weight yarn, so they should knit up really quickly, and I know that I'm going to see a lot of this green in the Pacific Northwest, so I thought it was perfect to talk about them for a few posts and maybe tag them so that people can actually see their yarns and follow Mayak again, because I think that they are a really wonderful company doing a lot of really good things in the world. So this is my other future project. I haven't even wound up the yarn to make these socks, worsted weight socks, but I am bringing that here. I might wind the yarn on the plane. So my project, my notions pouch, my three knits that I'm carrying with me, and I am ready to go. And now, as you saw, my husband came looking for me. I probably have to print some paperwork, and we need to start getting ready to go to the airport. So I'm gonna say bye-bye here. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you go get some patterns and bags, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.